Thank you for tuning in to Koppen Comic. I'm Brian Koppen. We're with comic Alexa Jaggs. Alexa Jaggs, how the hell are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much. It sounds like you're recording in a cave.
Oh no,
Oh, now you sound perfect. You just came out of the cave. Welcome back.
that is because I set my laptop on a very fluffy blanket. So.
Oh, cool. Well, fluffy blanket. We love here at Koppen with Comic. We love fluffy blankets, but we also love Alexa Jaggs. We follow her everywhere. She is Alexa Jaggs on, well, at least on Instagram, but also on Twitter. And on Twitter, it says Alexa Stallion of the Cimarron. What the hell is that?
No, there's this DreamWorks movie from like the 2000s when I was a child called Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, and it's about a horse, and it's an incredible film. And every once in a while, I remember it exists, and I'm like, why are we not constantly talking about it? But particularly the soundtrack is just incredible.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
it's like Hans Zimmer and like
Yes.
is it Brian Adams? I don't know, but it's like incredible. It's so good. And so I made my Twitter name Alexa Stallion of the Cimarron to help me remember the importance of that movie.
I feel that way about the soundtrack of Last of the Mohicans, but yeah, Hans Zimmer.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
I mean, so that's a young adult novel. Are you into Maggie and Laura? I think they cover young adult. They have a podcast that covers young adult. They kind of revisit young adult fiction. Are you into Chicago Comedians Maggie and Laura's podcast yet?
I have heard of the podcast. I have not listened to it.
Wow.
Partially because I don't read books.
You listen to the soundtrack.
Well, no, it's a movie.
Yeah, well, so it was never a book. You're just saying it was kind of a movie you enjoyed back in the day.
Yeah, it was a movie from my childhood.
Dude, sweet. I love Parent Trap too. That was my jam. But okay, it also says on your Twitter, it says just a lizard girl in a horse girl world. And so I need you quickly to explain the difference between lizard girls and horse girls, because I think there's been a line of comedy about horse girls, and I want to know if that's accurate, but also how does it compare and contrast with lizard girl? Because I think you are a lizard girl, are you not?
I am a lizard girl, and I think I think horse girls, everyone knows what a horse girl is, but I'm a lizard girl, and so I like to put that I like that to be my brand. I grew up with reptiles as pets at home. Like my family always had like lizards and like snakes and stuff. I have a pet gecko now. Yeah, I like a lizard. My dad always called me Lizard growing up. That was like his nickname for us, or for me. Actually, my dad had this whole scheme where he would call me a lizard and my sister a snake and him a crocodile, and then he called my mom a goat.
Oh, well.
Just to make her feel excluded.
I mean, but goat now has it's greatest of all time right now.
Yeah, but this is before that. He just like wanted her to be the only mammal in the family.
No.
Luckily for my mom, she's gotten a full rebrand, and that's great for her.
But is there something about like our lizard cold-blooded or something? Like why? I mean, are you like a lizard? Or I mean, is there something about lizard girls where they just are kind of a certain way where lizards really
I don't know if there are stereotypes about a lizard girl. I don't know enough. But they're great pets. They're like super low maintenance, and they're chill and they're cute, and they're wonderful. I guess it's like, I feel like the people I know who are into like lizards, they're like a little spooky, but they're not like spooky, like they it's like they have the same like cuddly warm love that you would have for like a puppy, but it's for a lizard. So they're just like a little offbeat.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like that. And so, I mean, does that also kind of reflect, like I have the comedian supply topics, and I love it because then I get to pick the ones, kind of pick and choose what I want to talk about. But one of yours was making fun of men. And so I want to know, like, do you happen to get along with chill men, like, whether it's friends or significant others? I don't know what you're into, but, as far as, who you get along with, whether, I mean, a bad transition into making fun of men is whether or not you get along with men who are chill, like lizards are.
Like lizards. I think I only get along with men who are chill, like lizards are. I need men to be very low maintenance.
Okay.
And just kind of chill. They only need to be fed every couple days.
So
They
how
sit
do
in
you,
the corner. They stay in their terrarium. I just
is
need a man who's staying out of my space. I need a lizard.
this to sit on a hot rock somewhere and just shut the fuck up? And so yeah,
Exactly.
and so how do you, why do you list making fun of men? Is it something you do in your act, and why is it such an area ripe for comedy?
Yeah, it's something I do a lot in my act. I don't hate men. I have a lot of male friends. I do date men, and I do think men are wonderful. It's just something I realized as I started to do comedy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am one of those female comics who is constantly making fun of men in her act. That is something I do. And I think it's like I'm someone who I like to see connections and make comparisons, and I have, like I said, a lot of male friends and a lot of female friends, and I see the differences there, and a lot of it comes from a place of love. I'm someone who uses bullying as a love language, like
Bullying is my love language.
exactly. So it's like sometimes I see some like areas for improvement in the men in my life, and I'm like, I think bullying is the way to get through to them.
So, so what are some of those areas, without burning your comedy material, what are some areas, some general areas of improvement that you're observing in men that you date or are friends with?
Well, mostly it's emotional incompetence. But I mean, it's like, to be like serious, it's like a cultural thing we have where from childhood, women are usually conditioned to do more of like the emotional labor and the emotional work in society than men are. I mean, there's a reason that nurses are usually men, or nurses are usually women, and it's like we outsource compassion to women in most industries, and a lot of that is just because men aren't made to do it, and so they don't know how. It's not their fault, but it is their responsibility. So like, go to therapy.
Are they not emotional, or are they just shitty about communicating their emotion?
I think a lot of that's the thing is I think a lot of people like to rip on men for not communicating well, which don't get me wrong, I love to rip on men for not communicating. But from my experience with my like close male friends, I think like that you don't know how to communicate. You like genuinely don't have the skills to like reflect or like know how you feel. And I think a lot of it is because they're like raised told that their feelings don't matter and their feelings are stupid and not to explore it. I mean, again, it's like the patriarchy is bad for men. There's a reason they're all mentally ill. It's because we tell them they can't feel their feelings. Anyway, I think all men need to go to therapy, and most of my material is ripping on men about stuff related to that.
Well, I love it. So, have you encouraged Matt? Is there kind of story, comedy stories, that are made its way into your act that are about encouraging people you've dated or have been friends with to kind of go to therapy? And did that really happen in real life? Have you encouraged people to go to therapy, like point blank to their face, yo, bro, you suck at this, you need therapy?
Okay, I have 110% made multiple men in my life go to therapy.
Really? So you told them to, and they did.
Yeah, it takes a while. But no, I'm getting over involved. Like I'm sending them a link to a therapist. Like,
is it your therapist?
Sometimes, yeah. One of my friends sees the same therapist as me. We're like therapy brothers. And then
that's cool.
And it's so great because now whenever we get together and talk, we're like blah blah blah. And I was talking to Dan the Man. Oh, love Dan the Man. And then we like keep talking.
And so kind of what are the areas that men, okay. So men have been taught to push down the feelings and stuff, and as a result, they can't analyze it and identify what the fuck it is. They can communicate just fine, but because they've never dealt with their emotions, they don't know. Like, am I sad? Am I in pain? Am I being resentful or whatever? And so, like,
or
as far
feel
as
like ashamed of it, and
yeah. And so, like, you're able to see this, and your therapist is. And so, what emotions are you seeing that men are having the most difficulty kind of pinpointing? Because you're probably able to pinpoint it, right? Like, if they're able to communicate with you, are you able to pinpoint it, even if they can't?
I mean, yeah, sometimes I feel like it's very common. Like, I'm sure you've seen this. It's like men won't talk to each other about their feelings, and then they'll get like a long-term girlfriend.
Yeah.
And the long-term girlfriend then becomes their therapist and their mother and their everything.
Yeah.
So mostly it's not even, I'm not trying to fix or address people's feelings. I'm mostly like, look, learn how to manage your shit or you're gonna be undateable.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I
so
love you, man. No one wants to be your fucking mom.
and so, but the problem is, I mean, some comedians, you know, I mean, I think what's her name, Nikki Glazer might have had a joke about this, or another prominent comedian. It was more like, yo, dude, like I fixed this guy and now he's dateable. Like, so I mean, is some of this a function of age where you're like, you know, you're a young person and so like you're fixing all these young people, but by the time they're, you know, 30, 35, they're going to be perfectly fine and able to pinpoint and communicate and deal with emotions. Like, are you just fixing these guys for their next friends or lovers?
I mean, I guess, but my thing is I'm not trying to fix men anymore.
Okay.
That was an early in my 20s thing. Now I'm trying to bully them to fix themselves.
Oh,
That's it.
okay.
I'm like, I need to not really be a part of this. That's why I bully them to go to therapy.
Good. And so you're like, so back in the day, you'd be like, I'm gonna fix you so that you'll be a better partner for me. But now you're like, dude, you're undateable, so go fix yourself. I'm just doing this as a
Yeah,
kindness so that you're not undateable forever.
back in the day, a guy says something to you and you're like, well, do you think that maybe that's like anxiety and whatever? Should we talk about that and like whatever? And now I do not do the, I am really trying not to do the therapist thing. Now I just bully. And I just go, bruh, that's fucking anxiety. You know, therapy could probably help with that. And then I like walk away.
So that's kind of a form of therapy though, because you know you're bullying them into getting better. It's just another therapist could be helping them. And so my question is your day job therapy, or should you be a therapist?
No, I have like a dumb corporate day job. It's funny you say that though, because actually my mom never stops bringing this up. This is like so cringe. It's like one of those like mom stories that she'll never let go of. My third grade teacher said I should be a therapist, and every time my mom does anything, she goes, "Oh, well, you know, Mrs. K always said you'd be a great therapist."
But in third grade, what the fuck were you doing in third grade? Like bullying people into therapy at third grade? You know, you guys are at recess pushing each other down. Like, bro, that's just your anxiety talking.
I was like, "Where's this anger coming from?"
But I mean, like this episode has shown that that like lizard people are therapists, right? Like, so do you think like most of the therapists that you've encountered have that same kind of like, sure, they're cuddly, but in a weird, distant way? Like they're gonna kind of solve your problem, but they're also gonna charge you for it, not really become too emotionally invested. Do you think therapists are lizard people?
I I love that comparison. I don't know, but I love that. But it's also hard because when you say lizard people, it starts to sound like you're talking about the Illuminati.
Yes. Well, that's the next step, right? Once we establish that therapists are, right? It's like the Illuminati. There you go.
It's therapists are the Illuminati's like undercover agents in the list, trying to figure out how we're vibing.
But I love it because we learn too that it starts early. Like if your third grade teacher can pinpoint you as a therapist, I mean, like.
But I also am not a therapist. I want to
like you should be. I mean, you're Illuminati, is what we're saying.
I mean, now I have to kill you.
Well, we follow her everywhere. We're going to find out whether or not she kills me. Alexa Jaggs is on Twitter and Instagram as Alexa Jaggs, but she also has a Linktree, and you're doing stuff on TikTok. Are you doing the bullying on TikTok as well, and are you being banned for it?
I do. I've never been banned from TikTok. I've had the audio taken off of videos a couple times.
They can do that?
Yeah, but then you can appeal it and sometimes it'll come back. And usually it is when I'm making fun of men. But I haven't been making fun of men on TikTok quite as much.
Do they keep up the subtitles or do they strip that out too? You're just saying for videos that didn't have subtitles, they will take off the audio. Well,
they'll take off the audio because they'll say it violates community guidelines, but then you can appeal it and put it back.
But is there subtitles in those videos or no? Like, do you caption your videos or no?
I do now. I don't know if I did at the time that the audio was.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Like, they're so dumb. They're like, well, we mute the audio, but you kept the subtitles up, you idiots. But
yeah, no, I'm sure they do. I mean, they can't remove the subtitles. But it's also just like by removing the audio, you reduce the viewership.
Yeah.
No one wants to watch a silent TikTok. That's not the fun.
Dude, yeah, you have to hear Alexa Jaggs bullying in real time. Alexa Jaggs, Stallion of the Cimarron, and Illuminati and future therapist, right? She's a
Sure.
lizard girl in a horse girl world. Alexa Jaggs, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.